Let's talk about one of the greatest historical novels ever written. But here's the thing, it's not just a novel. It's presented as a secret history, a lost autobiography. This is I, Claudius, and it's supposedly written by the one guy in the entire Roman imperial family that absolutely everyone thought was a total fool.
And right from the get-go, he makes us this promise. Claudius, our narrator, basically says, look, I'm going to tell you everything. We're about to get the real, unfiltered story of one of history's most notorious dynasties. All the paranoia, all the poison, all the backstabbing that the official records conveniently left out.
And this is the whole story in a nutshell, isn't it? On one side, you have how the world saw him, Claudius, the stutterer, the limping idiot, a total embarrassment. But on the other side, that's the real Claudius, a brilliant historian, a master observer, and, against all odds, the ultimate survivor.
Yeah, his survival literally depended on everyone underestimating him. His entire early life was basically the perfect training ground for creating this disguise, letting the real man, the historian, hide in plain sight.
You know, right from birth, Claudius was seen as a write-off. In a family that was all about power and perfection, he was born with a limp and a stutter. He was totally shunned. I mean, his own mother called him a fool. The only person who showed him any real warmth was his brother, the great hero Germanicus. So all this time on the sidelines, it turned him into a watcher, someone who saw everything.
And this is the piece of advice that literally saves his life. An old historian tells him, hey, in this family, being ambitious will get you killed. The smartest thing you can be is a harmless idiot. So Claudius doesn't just accept the label, he leans into it. It becomes his armor.
And believe me, he needed that armor, because at the center of this incredibly dangerous family was a true master of the game, his grandmother, the Empress Livia. She was the most ruthless player in all of Rome, and Claudius had a front-row seat to her masterclass in power.
I mean, this one sentence says it all, right? The Emperor Augustus might have been the face of the empire, but Livia was the one pulling the strings. She had one single, all-consuming ambition, to make sure her son, Tiberius, became the next emperor, and nothing and no one was going to get in her way.
And just look at her playbook. This isn't random violence. It's a cold, calculated checklist. One by one, Augustus's chosen heirs just happen to have tragic accidents or come down with mysterious illnesses. When there's just one left, she has him framed and exiled. And then, the final move. When Augustus figures out what she's been up to, she poisons him with figs from his own garden. The nerve! And just like that, her son Tiberius is on the throne.
So, Livia's plan works. Her son Tiberius is emperor. But for Claudius, the danger is just getting started. His strategy of playing the fool is about to face its ultimate test under two of the most paranoid, tyrannical emperors you can possibly imagine. Under Tiberius, the whole atmosphere of Rome just turns toxic. You can almost feel the fear in the air. Spies and informers are everywhere. One wrong word, one joke that lands badly, and you could be accused of treason and executed before you knew what hit you.
And we're not talking about a few people. We're talking hundreds executed. Tiberius ruled through pure fear, taking out anyone who seemed like a threat. And through it all, there's Claudius, just watching, keeping his head down, making sure his stutter sounds worse than ever.
And then comes this absolutely wild twist. Livia is on her deathbed, and she confesses everything to Claudius, all the murders, all the plots. And then she drops this bombshell. She tells him a prophecy that after the next emperor, the madman Caligula, he, Claudius, will rule. Can you imagine? You're the family joke, and you're just told you're going to be emperor of Rome. And wouldn't you know it, Livia was right. Caligula takes over. And after a nasty illness, it's like a switch flips in his brain. His sanity just completely evaporates. He doesn't just want to be an emperor anymore, he decides he's a living god, and he demands to be worshipped. Okay, so if Tiberius's reign was bad, Caligula's is a full-blown nightmare. Remember those hundreds executed under Tiberius? Well, Caligula murders thousands, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's all based on his whims. The entire city is held hostage by a madman. You know, a reign of terror like that, it just can't last. Something's got to give. A conspiracy starts to form, and when the tyrant finally goes down, it leads to one of the most bizarre and frankly hilarious transfers of power in all of history. So Caligula, His wife and his child are assassinated by his own guards. The palace explodes into absolute chaos. The politicians are talking about restoring the republic, the army wants a new emperor, but in the middle of all this chaos, who would be crazy enough to even want the throne?
And this is the punchline. You can't make this stuff up. While soldiers are running wild through the palace, one of them sees a pair of feet sticking out from behind a big curtain. He pulls it back, and who does he find? Claudius, just cowering there, shaking, absolutely convinced he's next on the kill list.
But the soldier recognizes him. He knows him, Claudius the fool. So as a complete joke, they hoist him up on their shoulders and start chanting, "Claudius is emperor!" It's a prank that gets way, way out of hand. The army gets behind it, and suddenly the joke becomes reality.
So the impossible happens. The prophecy comes true. The man who spent his whole life running from power now has all of it. So the big question is, why did he even accept it? And what did this mean for the historian who'd been hiding inside the fool for all those years? Well, at first, he begged them not to do it. He genuinely didn't want the job, but he knew refusing would mean death for him and his family. And then he has this light bulb moment. The historian inside him realizes, as emperor, he wouldn't just be writing history. He could command people to read it. His secret story could finally become the official one. And that leaves us with the big question at the heart of this whole epic story. In a world filled with absolute monsters, Claudius didn't survive by being the strongest or the most ruthless. He survived because everyone overlooked him. It really makes you wonder, maybe sometimes the smartest thing you can do is just play the fool.